Hi everyone, I'm Fred Womble, the servant leader for the Deacon Team Ministry here at First Missionary Baptist Church. And we'd love to hear how God is using our ministry in your lives. So if you have any questions about the sermon or just questions in general, feel free to contact us at info@fmbc-concord.org. Here at FMBC, our mission is to lead all people into a life-changing and ever-growing relationship with Jesus Christ. Again, thanks for joining us.
Have anybody in here, other than me, been betrayed? Yeah, I know we don't want to talk about that on Mother's Day, but you know, even when you watch TV, you can see it, even in commercials. How many of you seen the Mother's Day commercial with the two sons that's buying a gift from Edible Arrangements? You seen anybody seen that? Yeah, take a look at this.
I got you this.
Wow, that's amazing.
Is this what we're doing now? This is about Mom.
Edible arrangements for Mother's Day. Order in-store or online.
This isn't a competition. It's always a competition.
There's a lot of pun in that. But some of us are sitting in here right now because we thought we were doing one thing, but somebody did another. You know how you say, we're going to get Mom this? And then you get somebody else go out and double down on it. And you don't think it's a competition, but you find out that it is a competition. And betrayal is a wicked thing. You know, surveys show that guns in homes are usually used more against family and friends than intruders. Well, the same is true about the handgun of lies and the shotgun of deception. They're used mostly against family members versus intruders. You think one thing is supposed to happen and then something totally different happens. Why is that? Some of us probably have been in a place of employment where an employer or an employee caused you not to get a promotion. Has that ever happened? Yeah, let's be real about it. You got someone who supposedly is your neighbor, slanders your name. You don't know about it. Happens. How about the community activist? You're supposed to be helping in the community, and you find out that someone is stabbing you in your back. When these kind of things happen, we sometimes wonder, where is God in all of this? Yeah? Why would God stand back, especially if you're doing right? How many of you have been doing right? Yeah, when it happens. Yeah, it happens when you're doing. Seems like when you're doing right is when it happens, doesn't it? And the more right you do, seems like the more you get jabbed at. Yeah, well, we're going to look at how this plays itself out even in the scriptures. How many of you got your Bible, the story? You know, we're in chapter 3 now, and for those of you, if you've got it, I think chapter 3 starts on page 29. And for those of you, I think we've got a few more of these left. Today is the last day for these to be on sale. It's a great Mother's Day gift. In fact, we had somebody come by and about wipe us out, bought a dozen and a half or so. And it's great, but it's a great gift. They're only $5 if you didn't get a free one. And we've been having a great time on Wednesday night. Haven't we been having fun on Wednesdays? Yeah, and even on Sundays, yeah. Yeah, now this past Wednesday, the hospitality, the food was off the chain. And it was, y'all were up in here like it was Golden Corral. Yeah, going back. So we don't have to double down this week and have some extra pots. I understand that some of you had the long face during the session, like, because you didn't get anything. So come early and stay late, but this time we're going to double down to make certain that we have enough for everybody. But, you know, you can come at noonday. We're having a great time at noonday as well for those who are either retired or at work and they're coming on their lunch hour. And there's also a class at 9:30. And then, of course, on Wednesday evening, it starts at 6. It's family-oriented. Bring your kids, bring their friends, and just come on and have a great time as we continue to grow together. Now, open your book to chapter 3. And really, I want to look at the verse I want us to pull out today is really on page 42. It's really at the end of the chapter. And if you got your Bibles and you don't have a book, I think it's Genesis chapter 50, chapter 50, verse 20. And I see someone here. Here you are. There you go. Yeah. All right. So turn to page 42. And there on page 42, you find Joseph speaking to his brothers. And I think it's about that first full paragraph where he says, "You intend to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is being done, what is now being done." That is to save, to save the lives of many. The title of the lesson is Joseph, Slave to Deputy Pharaoh. Now, the first week we learned it was chapter 1, and we learned the beginning of life as we know it. And we learned two things. Does anybody remember what they were? Who and why. We learned the who of creation and the why. Who created everything? God. Y'all didn't say that like you meant it. Okay, do y'all mean that, or y'all just saying it? Who created everything? This is a safe place to say that. I mean, y'all might get a little, skeptical when you go out of this room, but you ought to be able to say that in here with confidence. Who created everything? God. And why did he do that? He wanted to have a relationship with us. And in having that relationship with us, he wanted us to be in this right relationship with him. But what happened? Adam and Eve jacked up. I can say jacked up, can't I? Yeah, jacked things up by disobeying God and got us all kicked out of the garden. And because of that, now we have a lot of turmoil and discomfort and rejection and all of those things that happen in life. In fact, we saw the first lie, we saw the first murder, we saw all of those first in the book of Genesis, in those first 11 chapters. And then, that's of the Bible, but this is all in chapter 1 of the story. And then last week, we learned that God was going to build a nation, but he picked two unlikely people, didn't he? He picked Abraham and Sarah, this couple who was old in age. Abraham was 75 and Sarah was 65 when it all started. And we learned how Abraham and Sarah's faith went what? Up and down, up and down. Anybody's faith ever go up and down? Sometimes you're with God, and sometimes you sort of doubt if he's with you and all of that. Well, their faith was sort of roller coaster. But then when God made them this commitment, this covenant to give them a son, Sarah laughed in God's face, but a year later, God made good on his promise. And ever since then, Abraham trusted God. And we learned that, what we learned about God. God doesn't need our help. He needs our what? Our faithfulness. Say, God doesn't need our help. He needs our faithfulness. And so this is where that chapter sort of ends, and where we ended last week. And so now we get over into chapter 3 here, and we get to a young man by the name of Joseph. Now, there are a couple of Joseph in the Bible, so I want to give you a little background about this young man. This Joseph is really the great-grandson of Abraham. How many of you ever prayed that prayer, or you heard folks say, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Y'all ever heard that? Yeah, and you just be saying it. You don't even know what we're saying, right? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah, well, that's Abraham is the daddy. Isaac is Abraham's son, and Jacob is Isaac's son. Well, guess what? Joseph is Jacob's son. So that makes him the great-grandson of Abraham. Now, Joseph was one of those babies. He was the 11th. No, he was the 12th of 13 children. His daddy, now brothers don't try this today. His daddy had 2 wives in the same house and 2 concubines in the same house. Yeah, I got enough problems handling one, but yeah, isn't that right? Yeah, isn't that right there? I ain't heard him say nothing all the time, but he's here, man. That brought him to life. But anyway, out of those unions, he had Jacob had 12 sons and one daughter. But Joseph was the first child of Rachel, and Rachel was the woman that he really loved. Now can I just take this like a little soap opera? Because when you take a look at how Jacob and his brother, Jacob had a twin brother named Esau. Y'all ever heard about Esau? And Esau and Jacob were favorites of each parent. Jacob was his favorite. He was a mama's boy. Don't y'all hate them mama's boys? And then Esau was his daddy's boy. But out of that, what happened? Sibling rivalry. And Jacob betrayed his brother Esau. So he had to run away from home. So mama sent Jacob to live with his uncle. And Jacob married his two first cousins. They must have been from South Carolina. Now, but that's... Now, I'm just kidding. Y'all know that. Because some of y'all don't know. You can't do that in South Carolina. They had to actually pass it. Do you know there's a law on the books? Why do you have to make a law? But anyway, that's a whole other story. But Rachel and Leah they were his first cousins. And then he had to slip away and run away from his uncle Laban and take his wives and his concubines and all of that. But Joseph was Rachel's first child, but Jacob's 12th child. And he loved that boy. He loved him some Joseph. And so Joseph being what you would call, I guess he was the knee baby? Because he wasn't the baby, and the one next to the baby. Isn't that what they call a knee baby? How many of you here are a knee baby? Do y'all even know what a knee baby is? Y'all looking like, knee baby, what's that? He the one sit on the knee. While mama holding one. Right, so he was the knee baby. Yeah, but his daddy loved him so much that his other brothers hated him. Y'all know I'm talking about some of y'all. Yeah, y'all know y'all mom and daddy got that favorite child, that they love that child so much. In fact, Jacob loved Joseph so much. Brother got special clothes. He got the newest Nike Air. He got the newest Sean John. He got all the latest labels. Yeah, his brothers got the hand-me-downs. He got the Kmarts. They got the Burlingtons. Y'all know how it is. And this brother was sporting this favorite coat and everything, and that made his brothers hate him even the more. They just hated that little brat. Some of y'all, who in here the baby? Go ahead and raise your hand. We hate y'all. 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 We hate all y'all. Oh, I'm in church. Oh, forgive me. It's Mother's Day. Huh? You want to hit those? Yeah. See that's why we have to put one over here, one over here. Now, which one of y'all the baby? They're the baby right there. Mama, look at she. That's my boy. Look, she just grinning. She just. See, this stuff is in the Bible. You don't even have to watch TV. It's for real, isn't it? Yeah, I hope my sister's not watching. She the baby. Yeah, my baby sister. Yeah. Ooh, she used to get away with murder all the time. Yeah, and they could go tell on us. Tell everything. This is happening in the Bible. So guess what? So Jacob had sent his son off to do some work in the house. And don't you be talking. I know my mama was the baby. Don't you be see that my aunt, that's my mama. Don't you be talking about my mama. Don't be talking about my But anyway, Jacob now has sent Joseph off to go see his brothers. And what he's going to go tell me what your brother's doing. See, he's a tattletale, little tattletale, going to find his brothers to see what his brothers are doing. Because his daddy said, go find out what they're doing and come back and tell me. Isn't that what he's saying? Go tell on them. So when they saw the little brat, when they saw Joseph coming and the brother was wearing and sporting his new coat and everything going out through. Now, why you going to wear your new Sunday coat out into the field? And when they saw him coming, I'll show you how bad betrayal gets. They decide they want to kill their own brother. So now let's look at those predictions of what caused them to want to kill Joseph. Joseph, God had his hand on Joseph at an early age. Listen carefully, parents. Some of you got some special children that God is already touching right now. And Joseph started having some dreams. And these dreams show Joseph in some kind of position as a ruler or as a king. Now, you have to understand, even now, we don't like bowing down to our baby brothers and sisters, do we? You know we don't. Yeah. In fact, when our parents used to leave the house, who did they leave in charge? The oldest. But their baby was the one that they would ask all the information. I never figured that out. Why you going to leave the oldest one in charge, and then you going to come and ask the baby, what happened? Why your nose bloody? This is real stuff, right? But because of these predictions, they started hating him even more. You know, first they hated him because he was what? His daddy's favorite. And then they hated him because of what? The clothes he was wearing. And now he's got the audacity to tell them that one day they all are going to bow down to him, meaning that he was going to rule over them and would be telling them what to do. That's the last thing you want, is your baby brother or sister telling you what to do. This is a personal kind of thing for me anyway. But anyway, let me get back. I'm supposed to be preaching. We got guests. It's Mother's Day. Let me act all professional. And so then what happened next was when they saw him, they conjured up a plan to kill their own brother. Do you know how mad you got to be to want to kill your own sibling, your own blood? I mean, sometimes you think it, but here's 9 of them, all right, because the baby boy, 10 of them, because Benjamin, the baby, he's at home, and Joseph being the 11th one, so 10 of them all have the same idea. But one of them said, wait a minute, let's not kill him. So they placed him in a pit. Now, how bad is this now? They put him in a pit, and the text says there was no water, all right, but they sat down and ate Bojangles. Read the text. They sat down and ate their food while their brother was in a pit with no water. Now to make matters worse, when a band of Midianites and Ishmaelites came by, they got the wild idea to sell their brother into slavery. They sold their own flesh and blood because they didn't like him. Where is God in all of this? Now this young man has just had dreams that God told him, and he believed it was God, that one day these brothers of yours are going to bow down to you, but your brothers now don't want you to live, so guess what? They're going to try to outdo God's plan. Sometimes we don't like what God has planned, so we want to, there we go again, what? Trying to help God out. You see that? So they said, what? Look, let's see what becomes of him, all right? If we kill him, see what becomes of his dreams. So now these predictions. So now we want to look at the persecution. So the first persecution is that they put him in a pit. Then they sold him to some Midianites and some Ishmaelites. Took his coat, dipped it in blood. Remember I talked about deceit and lies. Went back and told their father, does this look like your son's coat? Covered in blood. And his father was grieved because of his son. I don't know how many of you lost a child, but I can't even imagine the pain of thinking about you losing a child. It's just the most horrific thing to even imagine, because death in itself is abnormal, but it's even more abnormal when it's out of order. Is that not correct? I mean, the natural order of an unnatural thing, because death we weren't supposed to have, would be for the older people to go first and the younger people to go last. Are y'all walking with me here? And so now watch this now. So here they have sold their brother into slavery. Now, the distance he had to walk was at least 300 miles in shackles as a slave. Now, check this out. When they got sold, this wasn't no joyride. He didn't have any air conditioning. He wasn't in any cushioned seats, and they would have treated him anyway, any kind of way, from abuse physically, sexually, emotionally, and it would have taken him at least 2 to 3 weeks to go these 300 miles. And then here's the sad part, the Ishmaelites are his cousins. Did y'all hear that? So now his brothers have sold him into slavery to his cousins, who his cousins now are selling him to the Egyptians. Where is God in all of this? How can God make something good come out of something that's so horrific? Some of us are sitting here that have been abused. Some of us are sitting here who have been lied on. Some of us are sitting here that things have not been going your way, and you've been wondering, where is God in all of my mess? Where is God when I've been trying to do the right thing, and I've been treating people right, and I've been doing all the good I know how to do, but every time I do good, bad seems to not be far behind. Anybody other than me? Wow. Watch this now. So while he's there, the persecution doesn't stop. Things start going well. He's got a job in Potiphar's house. But then sister starts putting pressure on the brother. The Bible says he was a handsome, good-looking young man. And so, however that looks to you, ladies, that looks different to everybody, doesn't it? Yeah. But however it was, sister started putting pressure on him day in and day out. Now, brothers, it's hard enough saying no one time, isn't it? Come on, let's. Thank you. But if she wants you and you want her, I know we in church, let's just talk plain, right? What's wrong with it? I mean, who's going to find out? This seems like a safe proposition, doesn't it? Brothers, don't y'all be looking at me like, I know you sit there with your wife like, I can't help you out, Pastor. You on your own right there, and ain't nothing I can say, yeah. But he's at work. Uh-oh. Isn't that where it all starts, at the workplace? Yeah, he probably had on one of his clothes again, gonna get him in trouble. Brother sitting around the house doing his job, sister putting the pressure on him over and over again. And wouldn't nobody know, because her husband was always gone. This is a desperate housewives of Egypt. Y'all don't have to watch TV. You think they got anything new? No, this is what goes on those shows. Look, see there, y'all been watching. Y'all been watching it. It's the desperate housewife. And so here she is. She's laying it on the brother hard. And so guess what? He mans up. He refuses. Uh-oh. Y'all hear what I said? He manned up. See, if he'd have laid down, he wouldn't have manned up. It's harder to say no than it is to say yes. Now we would think that he would get rewarded for his being honorable. But the text said the sister then what? Lied on him. Handgun of lies. She lied on him, and he ends up in prison for doing the right thing. This isn't getting any better. This is getting worse. But can I give you some life advice? Right is always right, but it's not always easy. Did you hear what I said? Right is always right, but it's not always easy. Even in doing right, you could end up in trouble. So let that be a life lesson to you, though. It's always right to do right. Always. 2 years he's in prison. Another opportunity for somebody to help him out. While he's in prison, the chief baker and the chief butler come to him, and they have dreams. Remember we talked about his prediction? And they ask him about his dreams, and he told them the outcome. He says, one of you are going to be restored to your position, and the other one you're going to be hanged. 3 days later, the baker lost his head in more ways than one. Yeah, he got hanged. And then the chief butler got restored to his position. Guess what he did? He remembered Joseph, right? No. Even when he did right again, he was forgotten. Man, I don't know. You think you could keep trusting God like this? Go ahead on and say, But he was there in prison. But the Bible says, in all of those circumstances, God was with him. Oh, somebody ought to know. Say, God's with me. That ought to be good news right there for somebody. Even when you're going through some things, God is with you. When you're having ups and downs, God is with you. When you're having mountains and valleys, God is with you. When you're having highs and lows, God is with you. When you're having rises and rejections, God is with you. When good things are happening and bad things are happening, God is with you. Yes, and so here's Joseph now. He's still resting in prison, but it says 2 years had gone by, and then Pharaoh had a dream, but nobody could determine or discern what the dream was. And then the butler said, oh, wait a minute, I remember there was a young boy who was in prison with me, who interpreted dreams and said, Pharaoh told me that I would be back in your presence. So now we want to look at the plan for Joseph. See, God's got a plan for you. Sometimes when the things are happening on the Lord's story, we got to stop worrying about it. We got to learn how to look up when everything around us is going haywire and crazy, and when people aren't doing you right and they're not treating you like you think they ought to treat you. You got to remember, God is with you. What does Romans 8:28 say? It says, for all things are working together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. You see, when you're in God's will and you're in God's way, God's got his eye on you. God has his hands on you. I'm talking to somebody in here right now who's going through some things and wondering if God is with you. But if you just keep your hand in the master's hand. And so now here he is. You know how long it took for God to work this out? 13 years. Last week it was 25 years. I don't know how long you've been going through what you've been going through, but some of us, it might just have been a week and you think you've been under enough pressure. Some of it's been just a month. Some of you have been a year. Some of you have been waiting on God for 5 years. Some of you 10 years, and God has not yet showed up. But if you just keep holding on just a little while longer, you just keep walking in his word and walking in his will and walking in his way, God is watching everything that's going on. Remember now, see, he's the great grandson of Abraham. So he knew that God says, I will bless who blesses you. I will curse who curses you. And anything and anyone you bless, I will bless it. So if we remember that we're children of Abraham. Why? Because Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they had some children, and another one named was Judah. And from the line of Judah came the one we call Jesus. And because Jesus is a direct descendant of Abraham, and we've accepted what God has said in Christ Jesus, then each of us become a child of the Most High God. And because I'm a child of the Most High God, he's got plans for me. Some of you need to know that God's got a plan for you. I don't know what God's doing, but he's working on it. Say, he's working on it. He says, I don't know when it's going to turn out, but he's working on it. Some of you need to know right now, he's working on it. So guess what? He doesn't need your help. God doesn't need your help. He doesn't need you to stir the pot. He doesn't need you to try to fix things. He just needs you to be faithful and follow him. And as Joseph followed him, he didn't worry about it. So when you get to this 47th page right here, chapter 50, verse 20 says, you intended to harm me. Are you listening to me, my brothers and sisters? Whoever's at work intends to harm you. Maybe it's somebody in your family you've been sexually or physically abused. They intended to harm you. Your neighbors, they intended to harm you. But you know, when I say you see the word but, that means God's taking something in a different direction. It says, but God intended it for good. Can I give you another life advice? God either plans or permits all of your life circumstances. Did you hear that? God either plans or permits all of your life circumstances. So if that is so, if you don't remember anything else I tell you, God desires that our life circumstances makes us better, not bitter. Some of you need to hear me now. Some of you have been bitter too long. Some of you have been worried about why things have happened like they happen and why I haven't gotten my break and why somebody else has always seemed to have the upper hand. God's working on you. Why did God take so long with Joseph? Well, if I could use my sanctified imagination. When God showed him what he showed him, Joseph wasn't ready to handle what God had for him. Some of us, you're not ready to receive what God has for you. He needs to do some more shaping and making. He needs to burn off some more dross. He needs to clean up some more things. He needs your mind to be purified. He needs some things to be turned around. But God's got a plan for you. And when you stay in his will, as Joseph plainly told his brothers, but God intended it for good. Why? To allow what is being done now, that many, listen to this, lives may be saved. Oh, you didn't hear that. God's working on you so that you can save somebody else. Too often we get caught up thinking it's all about you. But God is working on you so that you can be some good to somebody else. So when life is not going well, when life is difficult, stop looking down and around. Start looking up. Because there's an upper story. And God wants to do something in each of our lives. And all he needs us to do is to remain faithful and follow him. If you bow your heads with me. Father, we thank you for Joseph. We sometimes can identify with him when we see his being abused, battered, and broken. We sometimes can forget that you're in the midst of it all. So, Father, forgive us when we become discouraged and despondent. And we even become depressed because you haven't showed up when we wanted you to. But we're so grateful that you're an on-time God, that sooner or later, when you have made us ready, you will reveal to us that which you have in store for us. Now, Father, as we prepare to leave this place, but never your presence, we ask that you be with us individually and collectively until we meet again. In Jesus' name, amen. If you stand on your feet, there may be someone here today. This may be your first, second, third, or fourth time worshiping with us, or even fifth time. And we want to just love on you a little bit.
Hi, my name is Herb Redrick. I'm the lead pastor here at First Missionary Baptist Church. I pray that God's word touched your heart today, because our mission is to lead all people into a life-changing, ever-growing relationship with Christ. If you have a question about the ministries or the message, please contact us at admin@fmbc-concord.org. Look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.